gets SMSs to say, was Anangagit on this matter. Deputy Minister Boshielo does get many WhatsApps. I do. So it's almost impossible to count how many we get. We get a lot of, and it's encouraging actually that we're getting a lot of information than before, than when we started announcing our plans to fight extortion. Other people ask us, what are our plans? We now want to ask them, give us evidence, because plans are there. They are beginning to tell that the plans are there without us having to talk about plans. But it's beginning to show that plans are there. Now you ask us how much. We have a budget ourselves for SAPS. Part of that budget goes to just crimes, fighting crime via many ways, interventions, visible policing, and so on. Now, it's difficult to say this money is set aside for interventions on extortions, because that gets conducted in a multidisciplinary way. You have to put intelligence there, because you can't arrest somebody just on looking at them and say, this one looked like an extortionist. You've got to go investigate and associate certain individuals and certain activities with extortion. So it's money that would come from the budget to go to units that deal with that, special operations, vehicles, and all of that. So it's actually impossible to say how much went to extortions. But don't worry about that. The money that we don't have, we have for fighting extortions, and we have enough money to fight all of them and bring them to justice.
Thank you very much, Minister. With regard to the question on the delay that might be caused by these cases that take long at court and the implication thereof, yes, indeed, that does have implication. Because if you can look at the matter starting from 2015 on the court roll, only getting finished in 2024, it means that all the time we shall be carrying that case, which means that all the time it will be going to and from court. The implication is that it is costly exercise, because whoever is being accused today shall need to be defended. If that defense is being paid by the state, then it means that you have got the cost for the accused person. The prosecutor who's prosecuting needs to be remunerated. The presiding officer, those who are guarding the court system. So there is a whole set of activities that take place to ensure that the case is processed. So that is a costly exercise. Over and above that, individuals that have benefited from crime like crime or fraud, it means that it delays the recovery of the proceeds of crime. At times, one might have to be paying interest from the time that you have actually stolen the money, if it is money. So, but it means that the recovery of the assets take longer. Some of these depend on the conviction. You have got two processes of recovering the proceeds of crime. It's either you do it without waiting for a conviction. They normally say Chapter 5 and Chapter 6 of the Prevention of Organized Crime Act. So one process, you can start the civil case to recover what has been lost. The other process is that you wait for a conviction, and once there is conviction, then you start claiming the resources that an individual may have benefited So it means that it delays. When the case is dragging, it delays that process. The other implication is that you have got witnesses in these matters. And then the witnesses waiting for that time to come. And at times, some of the things evade our memories, and some of the facts becomes difficult to recall, which at times you might even lose the case at court. But some of the witnesses, you also need to take them into witness protection program. If you do that, it is again another exercise which is causing the taxpayers to keep a witness elsewhere. So it means that we shall be paying the cost of keeping the witness elsewhere for that period. So I think that those are the implications. But with us as investigators, the case that we are keeping and the number of new cases that are coming, it means that they pile up. Therefore, it means that instead of reducing the workload is increasing. I have indicated when I was briefing the media last month that the DPCI is carrying 18,461 cases. And out of this, we have got 11,972 accused persons serving in court. So you can understand that that matter that comes from 2015, when currently we are arresting more, it means that we are adding on that number. So those are the implications. I think that obviously the government is working on ways of speeding up, finding mechanism of speeding up those processes. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Minister. And National Commissioner, I think we'll take the last round of questions, Minister.
We just want to find out with regards to AFU, how much have they been able to recoup with regards to intimate, because we know that they're supposed to pay that back. In terms of the cases, you highlighted that there are a number of cases that you worked on with regards to the state capture. If you could just highlight some that you're currently working on. Just one or two, so we know which ones are. And then to the police minister. Minister, there was that shooting that took place in Eastern Cape yesterday where traditional leader.
Come again.
As well as if the minister could perhaps just give us an idea, because in KZN we saw that some of the extortion gangs were also working with the police, or there was that police that was shot. Perhaps what is the minister's solutions in terms of working around the cops or the cops that are part of that corruption? What is the plan, essentially?
Thank you, everyone. Dila from ENCA. I think maybe this is for the Hawks. What would you say to criticism just around the pace of state capture convictions? Yes, you arrested 30. There have been 3 convictions out of I don't know how many dozens of people that were implicated in that commission that spanned at least 4 years. Of course, it's been lambasted for the slow pace of the wheels of justice that are turning. What your responsibility to that? And also just around PRASA, yes, Mchunu is a major one, but how far have you gone into digging deep into the rot? Of course, that was highlighted also in state capture, the billions that were lost by PRASA, by some of the people that are even in parliament now, newly sworn in MPs, even Suifambo, rail company that pocketed millions in PRASA. Where are those investigations and where are the convictions when it comes to the billions that PRASA lost?
Minister, I just want to understand from you in terms of the rise in extortion mafias, see that there has been intensive rise in those. What we attribute this kind of crime to? Is it general lawlessness, or it's a temporary spike, or it's something that is shaping up over time?
Let me start with the last question. Extortion is crime, and it needs to be dealt with as such, and we are exactly dealing with it as crime. No mitigation. No mitigation. So there isn't anyone who must go and commit this crime with the hope that there will be mitigation and some understanding. There is no understanding at all beyond that it is crime, and it will be dealt with as a criminal. But from a distance, you can see that the socio-economic situation, where the economy is not growing, where jobs are becoming scarcer and scarcer, there may be temptation or people succumbing to a plight that they face as individuals when they come to a conclusion that I have no alternative. But fortunately, what mitigates against that is that the majority of people in the country who are not employed currently are not engaging on any form of crime. They are law-abiding. They are keeping order. They are looking for legal ways of surviving, not illegal ways, not criminal ways of surviving. And therefore, whatever we point out as some context is not at all justification, because a lot of people who are in the same situation are not doing this. In any case, extortion is a crime, just like kidnapping. There are people who kidnap just to get money, like it was proven in the case of a pastor from the Free State. Those people who were caught, I was told that, there may be, I don't know, because I think the process is still on in courts. But there may be people who may have been looking for liquor just to drink beers. So you will be kidnapped just because people want your money. But you would think that they want to buy food for their children, only to find that at the end of the day, they just want to enjoy, have a braai. And so the country can't fall just because of people who are thirsty, just because of people who want a braai, and so on. It's not going to happen. We have a country to run, and it's not going to be in the company of criminals. Number two, you said I must make a comment about what happened yesterday in Mthatha. We did announce to the people of Mthatha and Eastern Cape that we are investigating crimes there: stock theft, murders, rape, extortion, illegal occupation of buildings, everything that people are complaining about, and they complained about when we went there, to the three of us. Now we told them. Now, naturally, what follows after investigation is that suspects emerge. And once they emerge, police get closer to them and they arrest them where they can and get taken through court processes. It wasn't going to be an exception in Mthatha. We're doing exactly that. Even to those that doubted what we were saying, because they were saying, you have been here before, and all of that. We said, no, just give us a chance to do our work. We are now saying so. But some of the criminals already know that there are police there who are doing work and who are looking for criminals. All we are saying sitting here is to wish that injured policeman who was involved in the fight against those criminals when they shot at them. We wish him quick convalescence and that he gets out of the hospital and gets better. Because we need him. We don't need any criminal. We need him to go back and protect people. That's our wish. But this is a police safety month. And we want to caution police, of course, while they're in dangerous situations like those, they must continue doing their work. They have our support, and their families have our support. They just have to continue with the good work that they're doing there. We haven't actually started. We are still going to intensify our work in those areas dealing with these criminals until they are sorted, all of them. The other question was corrupt. Look, the issue of corrupt police is, we always make an example, that in families, all of us have a member or two of the family that you rather would not have had for one reason or the other. In some cases, it becomes serious, such that as members of the family would want to disown your own people and say, I, Usman Ban, what icon is denting our image in the family. But it doesn't stop being a part of the family, or she doesn't stop. Despite whatever things that they do, they remain your family members. Those police who are corrupt, they remain police. Even though we don't want them, even though they tarnish our image and the image of a huge majority of police who are doing well, who are upholding the law in the country, who are giving it all, like you heard. You heard from 2015, pursuing one criminal. You heard 11,000 dockets processed in court out of a huge number. So they are hard at work. The majority of them, no doubt. So South Africa is not going to allow a situation where one or two police officers get into crime. We're even saying, as we're saying here, we know that for one reason or the other, they get tempted like other people. But we're not necessarily exonerating or relaxing that they've got to uphold the law. They can't afford, as police officers, to uphold the law on one hand but be corrupt on the other. They must choose one. If they want to be corrupt, jump the line so that we deal you as a criminal. But there are disciplinary processes inside. Once anyone has jumped and across the line, that will never stop, so that we keep the good image of police. But I want to emphasize the great majority are doing well. Those that they just show up and we deal with them as such. But these things of like police getting indebted and maybe as a side issue, some of them getting into this, we want them to strengthen their morals, their morality, their ethical core. Being a policeman is quite a call that requires you to be internally strong. The fact that you uphold the law, which you have to do even in the face of somebody trying to bribe you, you've got to say no. Even if you don't have money, you have to say no, because you're upholding the law. The state as a whole, with its people, depend on you upholding the law. You may not fall. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. To add on what the Minister is saying, to prove that we don't discriminate when we deal with criminals, even when you are wearing uniform. One of the Major General is currently sitting in custody waiting for sentences. We have just released a statement at the end of last month saying that a Major General has now been convicted. He is remanded in custody waiting for sentence. And that is a very senior rank in the police. But we do not discriminate. We do that without fear or favor, so that the public should just rest assured that those apples that needed to be attended to, we will deal with them. The question of the asset forfeiture unit, the amount and that they have shall have claimed, we have indicated the amount that they shall have, the accused shall have been ordered to pay back to PRASA. That obviously the AFU will look into that when the assets that they have confiscated are sold. So they have confiscated the assets. So when the assets are disposed of, they look at what is the amount that the complainant shall have lost in the process, and then do those necessary calculations. Over and above this issue of the recovery of the assets, in the state capture that is handled by the DPCI, working closely with the asset forfeiture unit, we have already confiscated 400 million rands that has been deposited into the CARA account. So you can see that there is work that has been done, and the AFU is also hard at work. The asset forfeiture unit of the NPA is working closely with the asset forfeiture investigation of the DPCI. So collaboratively, they are able to ensure that the assets are confiscated. The pace, the question on the pace regarding this state capture matters and others, I have indicated that we are dealing with, we have arrested more than 30. I'm only talking about the matters that are handled by the DPCI. We shall recall that the state capture matter, where all the recommendations were put forward before the National Prosecuting Authority, which is why the ID was made permanent. So the majority of this investigation are with the ID. So I haven't talked about the arrest that they effected. When you combine the arrest that the ID has effected and these ones that I'm talking about, you'll see that the number is high that we have already secured before the various court in the country. Otherwise, I think that the matter are proceeding. You have asked a question as to what are these other matters that we are dealing with. You will recall that there were matters of Bosasa. Arrests have been effected. You will recall that there is the matter of Free State housing. Arrest was effected and even conviction already secured. An individual has been sentenced in that regard. You will recall that there are matters of asbestos in the Free State. One suspect has already been brought back from the U.S. to come and join others. That is part of the state capture. There are other matters dealing with the SA Express in the Northwest. We have indicated when those individuals were brought before court. The last aspect of the PRASA investigation. So this is an individual indeed. There are other investigations that are continuing. So a number of statements have been obtained, and then the financial accounting investigator are still working on those so that they can tighten the loose ends. And once the investigation has been completed, the National Prosecuting Authority will make a decision, and we will follow that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. National Head. In closing, Minister, may I just give the Acting National Commissioner to talk to the issue of consequence management relating to those members who are found to be acting outside the law.
Thank you very much, Minister. In terms of the numbers on the corruption, to be specific on the ministers, to reiterate on the issues that Minister highlighted, especially that if you are a corrupt police official, you must choose which color of uniform you want to wear. We have since convicted 2,118 police officials that were found to be on the other side of the law, and this is the endeavors that the department has taken. We have established the anti-corruption unit, and this unit has been working very closely looking at internal affairs. They are just investigating cases where members of the South African Police Service are found to be involved in any matter that is not acceptable, including corruption and any other matter that is criminal. So we are dealing with the issues over and above those that will be internally investigated as well in terms of the disciplinary processes, and they are dealt with accordingly. Meaning by the time that court concludes its cases, we have already dealt with the internal processes, and majority of them will get the expeditious process before the court process that can take years to be concluded. Internally, we will clean them up through the disciplinary processes of the South African Police Service. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Governor Mkhiphiri. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of this session, and once more, thank you very much for your continued support. Thank you. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, Commissioner, go and close the gates of
a lot to do.